So now that we have implemented our iNotify property changed on our view model, and we have now exposed an event here that's going to tell any subscribers when something is actually changed, and that we are actually in our code telling this particular event what property has actually changed, whether it's amount or is paid, I want to start to use that information. So what I'm going to do in order to handle that is I'm going to come into my XAML, and as you've seen so far to this point, when I'm creating this XAML and specifying values either to elements or to attributes themselves, is I'm specifying actual values here. So everywhere you see these quotation marks, I'm actually setting values. I'm saying explicitly what I want the value of this particular attribute to be. So you can definitely do that, but there's another mechanism for assigning values to these attributes. And if you remember from a previous lesson, and actually from working through this example, you're going to notice up here in the attributes of page, as we move our way down, we see a background property here. And then it kind of has this goofy value here that has some curly braces, and then inside it says theme resource, and then application page background theme brush. So what's going on there? Well, that's basically a specialized syntax to tell the XAML that I'm not going to specify explicitly what I want this background color to be. I want to use some other value that exists somewhere within my application or within the framework or something that is going to assign that value for me. So I don't necessarily care what it is when I'm creating this attribute or this UI element, but I know that that particular value is somewhere else, and I can just tell this XAML where it is. So that's ultimately what's going on here, and that the background is being set to a theme resource, and that theme resource has a name of application page background theme brush. So this is a predefined brush that has been created within this application or within the framework by default that has a specific value associated with it, so that at runtime this value is inserted into this background attribute, and that's where it's going to get its color when things first start up. So the special mechanism to get that to work are these curly braces. So when you start to insert these curly braces, that's when you have the opportunity to start telling the XAML, hey, by the way, the value I want to set for this attribute is here or somewhere else. Go ahead and go get it and use that. And that's what we're going to use to start utilizing that iNotify property changed by doing something called binding. So as you can see here, we have our text block to start with, and that's really not going to change. It's going to say invoice, and that's going to be the end of it. So once we come in here to our text block, that's just some static text that's going to be amount. But the first place where we actually want to inject some data without actually having to specifically state what it is going to be this text box here. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to stick a value into this text box based on what's going on in my invoice view model and ultimately this amount property here. So that's what I want to be able to set within my text box right here. So how do we do that? Well, as you know, there's a couple different ways that I can set the value of what's going on within my text box. So if we open up the design view again, and we'll take a look at this. So I could come back into my text box here, and I could set its text equal to, say, $5 or something along those lines, or maybe put even a dollar sign in there if we'd like to make it be $5. So now it's actually there as a value, and we can see it. But the problem is, and we'll go ahead and switch this out again, is that at the time of me creating this UI, I could put any sort of invoice up there. I could have any invoice pulled from a database, pulled from a web service, and I don't know what that amount's going to be. So I can't explicitly say that it's going to be $5. It's going to be some other value. So the way that we're going to do that, very similarly to how background is set up here at the page level, is I'm going to add these curly braces in here. So what I want to do is I want to create this text that's going to be assigned to some other value somewhere. And as you can see here, I have some options. I have theme resource, a static resource, a relative source, and then you see here binding. this is what we want to use. So I want to actually create a binding for this text box element's text property to be bound to some other property somewhere else. And ultimately, I want to bind this to my amount. So we can go ahead and come in here and say, I want to bind this to amount. And so that when I set that value within my invoice view model, I can actually get that text to show up on my text box. And we're going to do the same thing down here below for is paid. We're going to get rid of this little text here, and what we want to do here is we want to bind its text equal to binding, and we wanted to bind this to is paid, like this. Now you might say, oh, well, that seems pretty simple. I'm going to put in binding and then the property that I want to tie to this view model here, but how does the XAML know, how does this binding know that we're actually talking about this particular view model? And the reason that it knows about that is because we're going to tell it. And now this is going to be one of the very few instances when we're working with the model view model pattern that we're actually going to have to go into a code behind file. So the basic practice when you're creating these XAML style applications using data binding like we are here is you want to avoid those code behind files as much as possible, because ultimately using those code behind files is going to more tightly couple your UI, your view, with the actual data behind the scenes, and we want to keep those things as separated as possible. But in this case, we have to do a little bit of wiring up so that this view and this binding knows about our view model. So let's come into our main page.xaml.cs file, and we'll come down and take a look at our onNavigated2. So this is just going to be a contrived example, but obviously you could have some sort of repository or something that's actually going to retrieve that invoice data. But let's just say for now we've already done that and we've already retrieved that invoice. And it's going to just have an invoice here, and it's going to be equal to a new instance of an invoice. And we're going to actually set that amount just as we did before. Let's say it's $5. Just like this. So once we've created this invoice, as you recall, because of the constructor, the isPaid is going to be false, and we've set this amount to be $5. So now what we want to do is we will actually want to create a new instance of our view model. So we'll say our view model is going to be equal to a new instance of our invoice view model, and we're going to pass into it our invoice. So now we have that view model. We need to actually set that view model up so that this main page.xaml knows about it, and the way that we do that is by specifying the main page's data context and have that actually be set to our view model. And it's really as simple as that. So if we go back and take a look at our XAML, now nowhere in here am I explicitly saying what the value of this text box is or the value of this text block. I'm setting their text properties equal to bound values of our view model. So let's go ahead and run our application by hitting F5, and we'll open up our emulator and we'll see what we get now. So as you can see here, we have our invoice and we have our amount and we have our isPaid is false, but we're not getting anything here. So the isPaid is false, but that looks like a default, and kind of the same here with this amount. So I'm getting 0, I'm not getting that $5 that I maybe thought I would. So let's go ahead and close this out and see why that is. So if I come back into my view model, as you can see, I moved this in here. I moved an invoice into my view model here, but I'm not actually setting these private variables to anything yet, and that's a problem. So now that I have my invoice here, I can initialize my amount to be equal to invoice.amount, and I can initialize my isPaid equal to my invoice.isPaid, and it looks like I have a little negative sign in here, and I meant that to be an underscore. So there we go. So now we'll save that, and now let's go ahead and run our application again, and let's see what we get. Aha, so now we have $5 here listed in our amount text box, and false is still here because that is the default, but it is also the value of our invoice is paid. And we've done all of that by not actually explicitly putting anything into our XAML UI within our XAML file to say what the value of this is going to be. We've created an abstraction between our view model class, which exposes properties here, and then ultimately binds that to our view model using this special binding syntax within curly braces to say whatever has been assigned to the data context of my main page, which is our view model, is now going to be the source of our binding, and then all we have to do is specify the names of the properties on that view model or on that data context that we actually want to bind to these values. Now you can do this sort of binding to any attribute you find in here. It doesn't just have to be text. You could bind width, you can bind margin or font size or anything you could possibly want in order to be able to do that. So this is very nice. So I've been able to create a UI that's been completely separated from my view model, and just through data binding have been able to allow my view access into my view model so that I can start to see the data that's passed in. So that's pretty nice. So the next thing that I want to be able to do is I want to be able to click on this button. And when I click on this button, I want ultimately to come in here and call this pay method that will ultimately call the pay method on the invoice, which changes my is paid value to be something else. And then when that happens on my UI, I would like for the is paid to turn to true. And then maybe we could set this editable text box to something else other than that. Now, the way that you would probably initially think to do something like that would be maybe to come into our button here and maybe double click on it and set up an event handler. But once again, this is dipping into the code behind file of our XAML, which is typically a no-no. So what I would probably think to do is say, okay, I could grab my view model, and then I could, within that view model, call the pay method and then do some other wiring up, but that's bad. Once again, that's a bad practice when you're trying to follow the MVVM pattern. But there's another mechanism kind of similar to the iNotify property changed here on our view model, and that is the concept of a command that we can then issue from our view into our view model and have it handle some sort of command without us ever having to know what methods are being called or what's happening behind the scenes. And that's exactly what we're going to start to cover in the next lesson.